So this year, instead of taking a half an hour to tell you remarkably profound science things about whatever it is I care about today, I've decided to tell you nothing like that and just thank you and have a kind of discussion about why we keep coming. Look at you, my God. So I have been, as it says in the thing that I wrote, I have the easier task because everything we've been trying to do for these 8 years will culminate more or less when you hear Phyllis give her talk, which has consumed us, Meredith, Phyllis, and I, and lots of you who have helped. So I don't really have to do anything except reminisce in some silly way. So in my life, I've done two things. I worked for 25 years on something nobody cared about except the people in my lab and me, and we kept getting grants, and then we got lucky, and Craig Turk did something, and then I did 25 years of something else. So when I say a decade is about the right time period to start and do things, that's actually half the time it takes. It takes you a long time. Oh, I don't know how to make this louder. Is there any way to turn it up at all? Oh, it's right there. Look at this. Why don't you just stay here? Just stay here with me for a minute. This is so silly. It's like being in a nightclub. So I think we're on to something. And so I've been thinking about what are we doing and why are we doing this and blah, blah, blah. So that's the slide. And it leads to a different discussion in a way. So last night, there was a get-together of the speakers and past speakers and a bunch of people. And it's remarkable to think that when we started this thing 8 years ago, we had an idea. And now you see people having a drink together, old friends that they haven't seen for a year or so. So essentially, this is a club. We've become a club. And we all hate clubs, actually. And what we really hate is smug clubs. And I've actually been writing for the last 20 years my autobiographical hatred of smugness. And every time I see that I'm being smug as I write, I stop writing. So it may take another 25 years. But we're trying to do real things here. So this is kind of what we've done historically. Every year I look, this year with Meredith, we looked at all the programs. And I keep looking at videos over and over and over. There's so many that matter to me. So we're making progress toward doing something. Again, we're going to talk a lot about that. And so this 2 days. One of the things we've done in these symposia is every year, except if you'll notice, apparently in year 5 we forgot. If Carissa's here, that's an error. We forgot in year 5 to do something good. And maybe that's why you stopped doing it, Carissa. No, don't say it that way. Did you just moan? Did I hear a moan from my daughter? So we keep at this, and we're going to keep at it this year. And as you'll see when Phyllis talks, we're going to keep at it in a real way. We're not going to forget these things. Everyone keeps asking me, what am I reading? And the answer is, it's none of your business. I've made a vow, by the way, to not use the word I used every year. And Jessica Matthews is here, and she's going to keep tabs. Not doing it. Don't be disappointed. I'm turning over a new leaf for the last part of this journey. You should all read Thank You for Being Late. Many of you hate Thomas Friedman. I know several of you have told me you hate reading him. This book, Thank You for Being Late, is unbelievable. If you want to understand the complexity of the world we're in, I would recommend it. I'm halfway through Jerusalem because it's a book Ed Brody gave me, and you can't read more than 2 or 3 pages at a time, so it sits next to the toilet. And it's a fantastic book if you'd like to read about how 100,000 people died here and 100,000 here and 100,000 here. It's about millions and millions of people dying on the outskirts of and within Jerusalem. It's a remarkable book about carnage. I am, again, halfway through, half as generous, this new book by Daniel Dennett, who's going to speak next year. And I got a video last night of a wonderful interview with Daniel Dennett, and it's going to be remarkable. He would have come this year, but he was getting an honorary degree, and he chose to do that. There's no telling taste. The person I tried hardest to get this year was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You should all read his book. Turns out he's an unbelievable human being, and we all don't know that, so you should read that book. He had leukemia, survived it, and says more good things about gender and race and your own choices than almost anybody I've ever read. He could have been a great social critic and historian instead of being 7'3" or whatever it was, and doing the sky hook. The last book on this list is my favorite title of any book in history. This is his title. Can you imagine having the balls to title your autobiography "Giant of the Senate"? So this is a funny thing, you know. So I've thought a lot about the symposium, and you know, we've always tried to have some humor, and now it's harder to laugh, much harder than it has been, because things are just so much worse, it seems. It's worrisome. So this is what I always used to show you about. We're going to end in a minute, and then you guys can hear the real stuff. So I always show this slide every year, and sometimes I have things about it. And this year I thought about it a lot, about behavior, because we're watching god-awful behavior. So behavior, this is my real slide leading to a joke or to behaviors is actually, it's the same slide. And it says that when we're young, we're better. And then we get old and we suck. And then it says kids would never pull someone off a plane. And why does it say that? It says that so I can show you the next slide. There. So this Finton sent me this slide. It's a remarkable cover. Never mind your politics. We're not arguing. We're not going to do that. We don't do politics here. But it's a remarkable, just a remarkable thing. And actually, that's my last joke, and there's only 2 slides left. So here is kind of what was at the heart of thinking about this year, or the content about this year. I mean, if The Economist tells you that big data will be the world's most valuable resource, you know, they're not wrong about these kinds of things. They think they're like a real thoughtful thing, I think. And we're going to have some stuff about big data and about how it might or might not help us help with healthcare. And in the end, like we always say every year, there is a mixture of science and, let's call it, sociology that has to come together to do anything. And that's what this 2 days is going to be about. So thank you all, and this will be fun, okay?
Can we go back to that slide that lists the session?